Good afternoon, class. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I've got notes for Chapter 9, Section 3, about the spread of Islam. And a reminder, you're going to need your graphic organizer or guided notes to complete this, so follow along, and here we go. Number 1, Islam was able to evolve after Muhammad's death because the caliphs. The caliphs were those people who were the hand-picked successors to Muhammad, and these caliphs, for the most part, led the community. Muslim armies also fought to spread the faith, and they were very successful, spreading from the Arabian Peninsula through North Africa into parts of Southwest Asia. Very, very, very powerful. Followers were also split into two different groups, the Shia and the Sunnis. And as we go along here, we're going to talk a little bit more about the differences. But if you take a look at the map, the Shia and the Sunnis throughout the world are kind of spread out a little bit. And we're going to talk a little bit about where you're going to see those people and where they're more dominant in this stage. Number 2, the caliphs are the leaders of Muhammad's community and also the successors to Muhammad, and created an empire. The differences between the Sunni and the Shia are that the Sunnis are the followers of the Umayyads, a clan of Mecca, and the Shias were the followers of Ali, a cousin of Muhammad's and husband of his daughter, Fatima. The Umayyads took many steps to strengthen their rules over the Caliphites and established Arabic as the official language, making the coinage of money uniform throughout the empire, and the construction of what is known as Dome of the Rock in the city of Jerusalem. Dome of the Rock is the site where supposedly Abraham is buried. And in a way, it's a sacred site not only to Muslims, but it's also a sacred site to Jews and Christians alike. Number 5, the Battle of Tours resulted in the Muslim forces failing to push past Spain into what is now known as France. We're going to talk a little bit more about this battle when we get into the next few chapters here, but this was the turning point. Had the Muslims been successful, it's possible that Europe could have been converted to Islam. So the armies extended the Caliphites' borders to the borders of what is now China and Indus rivers in the east, and North Africa in the west, and across the Mediterranean into Spain. And for many, many years in Spain, you'd have a group of people known as the Moors, who were Muslims that lived there until they were pushed out. But that's a little bit later, and we'll talk about that maybe when we talk about Western Europe. The Umayyads, they treated the Jews and Christians. They conquered with tolerance by allowing them to practice their religion. And they did not impose they did impose taxes and some restrictions on them. The Umayyads Caliphate, for the most part, basically goes all the way to what is probably the border of Pakistan, all the way into parts of Spain and this little area here that would probably be modern-day France. Some Muslims were unhappy with the Umayyads government because of the emphasis on politics and the growing power of the Arab rulers. As you can see here, the Umayyads Caliphate lasted a little over, or a little less than 100 years, from about the 660s to about 750. And as they would kind of diminish in power, we would have the rise of a new empire, the Abbasids. So the Abbasid, if you can take a look here at the map, roughly the same area that we're talking about with the Umayyads Caliphate. The big difference here is when they came to power, they moved their capital from basically Mecca to the city of Baghdad. The government was cut off from the people, So for the most part, we had a lot of powerful rulers who became very, very rich. Islam became a truly universal religion. The Muslim culture flourished, and the Abbasid Caliphate lived in luxury. They had little direct contact with the ordinary people. Islam was able to spread to West Africa and Southeast Asia through trade. And then finally, the Caliphate's unity ended when small independent states challenged Muslim rule, and some broke away from the Caliphate. Thank you very much.